Hey folks, Michael Mann from Mann Security Services. This video we're going to talk about loading the handgun. So we talked about support equipment, magazine manipulation, we talked about safety before. Let's just talk about loading the handgun. Again, you're going to see a real handgun in just a minute. 1911, finest handgun in the world. Real magazines, no live ammo in this room, concrete walls, backstop, and I've been swept to make sure with a handheld metal detector. All right. Safety is always first. Safety is paramount when we talk about handguns or any type of firearms. So let's talk about loading the handgun. First thing, we talked about magazine manipulation in the first video. Get this out of the way so you can see it. So when we talk about loading the handgun, first thing with the handgun, what we are going to do is we want to bring the handgun in what we call our workspace. Years ago, we used to load all handguns out here. We learned a while back that it's a lot easier to bring that into this actual space. So as I have the pistol in the workspace, you'll notice the muzzle is facing forward down range towards my safe backstop. You'll notice I can actually see the slide, I can see the frame, and if I need to, I can rotate the pistol around to see the ejection port or whatever I need to see. My trigger finger is straight because my sights are not on target and I'm not prepared to shoot, okay? To load the handgun, first thing I'm going to do, support hand comes off the gun. It indexes the magazine just like so. We talked about this in the last video. As I bring the magazine out of the magazine pouch, you notice snap caps inside the magazine. What you're going to see is I'm going to come up to the magazine well of the pistol here to with the magazine at an angle. I'm going to have the flat part or back part of the magazine come into contact with that flatter back part of that magazine well on the pistol. This is the magazine well, folks. As this comes up at an angle and I touch and make contact, now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to straighten that magazine up here like this, fully insert that magazine into the magazine well. This now is an administrative procedure. This is an administrative load. So at this point, what I would do to make sure that this is fully loaded is now I'm going to take my thumb and index finger, come down to the bottom there of that magazine well, and I'm going to pull on that magazine to make sure that magazine is fully seated. This is an administrative procedure, folks. This is not tactical. We're not in a gunfight. We're not trying to hurry to shoot. This is how to properly, administratively load the handgun. At this point, once I know that that magazine is fully loaded, now what we're going to do is we're going to actually load a round into the chamber of the pistol. We've got the finest handgun in the world here in 1911, so of course we have to take the thumb safety off the handgun. So to load the handgun, what's going to happen is I'll rotate this over like this. My support hand is going to come over the top of the handgun, back at the rear of the handgun, covering the top of those rear sights, making sure I'm not covering the ejection port of the handgun. At this point, my thumb is facing toward me, and my four fingers, my index finger, my middle finger, my ring finger, and my pinky finger are on that right side of the slide of the handgun if I'm a right-handed shooter. At this point, what I'm going to do to load that handgun is I'm going to run that slide all the way back, run that spring tension all the way back, and load the pistol the way it's supposed to be loaded. As I do that to load around in the chamber, I'm going to slap my shoulder just like this to make sure that I let go of that slide and let that spring tension go forward to actually load the handgun. From here, once I think I have the handgun loaded, I'm going to check to make sure that we have the handgun loaded. It is a press check. To press check the handgun, there's several ways to do it. Let me show you the easiest way because it mimics how we actually load the handgun. I'll bring the pistol in the workspace, bring the support hand over top and rear of the slide, covering that rear sight, not covering up the ejection port, and then I'll bring that slide back just enough to where I can see the brass, and that tells me that that handgun is loaded. At that point, I'll let that slide go, then put that thumb safety back on because this is an administrative procedure, and at that point, if necessary, go back into the holster. So, we've talked about indexing the magazine. We've talked about loading the magazine in the magazine well. We've talked about loading the handgun. Very quickly, let's talk about unloading the handgun. So as we unload that handgun, we just take things into reverse. So I'm going to bring the pistol back inside the workspace. I'm going to bring the support hand up underneath the magazine well. We're going to remove the ammunition source of the pistol in a semi-automatic handgun that is the magazine. To do that, we're going to break the firing grip on the pistol. As a right-handed shooter, that right-handed thumb is going to hit the magazine release, which is right here, right by in between the trigger guard and the stock of the pistol. Okay. As I rotate that over and take that thumb and press that magazine release, the magazine is going to come out of the pistol. As that magazine actually releases from the pistol, I'll take my support hand, pull the magazine out, do one of two things. I can stick this in my support side back pocket, or for administrative process or procedure, I can just stick this magazine back inside the magazine pouch. Easiest way to now unload the magazine or unload the handgun is now unload it like I load the pistol. But we're going to do this 3 times. We're going to run the slide 3 times and make sure the brass or the ammo comes out of the handgun. To do that, of course, with the 1911, the thumb safety has to come off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the support hand over top and rear of the slide like we do when we load the pistol and press check. I'm going to run that slide 3 times. You'll notice as my hand comes back, I'm going to slap that shoulder each time. 1, 2, and 3. The ammo that's in, or the brass that's inside that magazine well, here it's a snap cap, or I'm sorry, inside the chamber of that pistol has now hit the deck or the ground. Now what I'm going to do to make sure that that pistol is unloaded, I'm going to bring it back in the workspace. Support hand comes over the top of the rear of the slide. I'm going to pull that back just enough to make sure that that brass or that chamber is empty, and it is. I'm going to look at the magazine pouch. I'm going to physically and visually inspect that magazine well to make sure I don't see anything, and I do not. Visually and physically inspect that chamber. It is empty, or that ejection port, it is empty. I can actually lock the slide to the rear if I want to do that, and look and physically do that, and the pistol is unloaded. Now I'll go back inside the holster. So again, indexing the magazine, loading the magazine well, fully inserting it, running that slide, press checking, and then unloading the pistol. If you've got any questions, send us an email, Scott M, SCOTTM, at michaelmannsecurityservices.com. Look us up on Facebook, Instagram. Also, you can go to our website, michaelmannsecurityservices.com. We've got some videos on there also. And remember, it's about prevention, not response.